Friends of Freedom, Pioneers of Human Evolution, I got a hair transplant yesterday, and these are the results. But I brought on the world's expert YouTuber, Matt Dominance, to tell me how my hair transplant went, what I can do to get the best results from here forward. And also, because I got my hair transplant here in Thailand, they didn't speak English very well. So there's some questions that I had that they weren't able to answer for me in language that I could understand, Matt. So I need some help here. I put the video up here of the hair transplant, but first I have one pressing question. I'm wearing this headband, Matt, and it's really uncomfortable. It's really tight. Why am I wearing this headband? And do I have to wear it? And does it have to be this tight after the surgery?
Yeah, so the only reason why this could make sense is to press on your forehead so the swelling will not start running down. So that's the only explanation. Like normally, I'm not seeing this with like the world-class doctors. They never do this to their patients to, have them wear any headbands or stuff like that. First, why? Because they are able to better control the amount of anesthesia they put in. They don't over-inject, over-anesthetize, so their patients actually never swell so much compared to the cheaper Turkish clinics. And that's how you can see actually from the Turkish clinics, the cheaper ones, everybody is having headband. Because of that, and because they want to show off the marketing, the branding, the logo of the clinic, so they actually make patients wear it and maybe tell them some blah blah why you should do it, but in reality it's just the branding, and maybe it helps with swelling a little bit. But in this case, yeah. How long has the doctor told you to wear this? For how many days?
I don't know how many days, because I go back every day and they wash my hair and put ointment on, and so I figure then they'll tell me when to stop wearing it.
Yeah.
Eventually. But like it's so tight that it's affecting my brain performance.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? It's like cutting off circulation to my brain.
No, it's really weird. I have never seen this before, and I have looked at thousands of post-op results by now, and I tell you, like, the headband's function is really not that important. If this is just swelling, and I think it's because of the swelling, you can massage your forehead from the day 1, 2, and 3 to minimize the swelling and to kind of dissipate it this way so it doesn't go down to your face and make it puffed. But that's it. But I think it looks like it should handle the swelling. That's why it's so tight.
Can see the holes in the back of my head where they took out the hairs, which I want to ask you about that too,
Right.
because it looks like they took a lot of hairs out. I'm kind of worried that my back of my hair is going to look all patchy. Like, is it better I'm going to shave the back of my head so it doesn't look like I have so little hair in the back, or does it grow back enough?
Yeah, they will grow back. They don't look like they are so densely taken. Actually, they space them out quite well, even if it seems to your eye like they took so many. This is actually homogenized very well, I see. They could even take more per square centimeter on the donor, but they probably took around 2,000-ish, I guess. So it doesn't look so aggressive at all. It looks good.
Okay, cool.
It looks really
well,
good,
that
to be
sounds
honest.
good then. Yeah, and then I did is I had them do just the front. My girlfriends are telling me, well, the reason I wanted to get the hair transplant is now I have a harem of young girlfriends, and just to be, I did experiments. I did experiments to see how important hair is to women. So I made my hair look bad and thin, and I go out in public and I try to pick up on women and I gauge the response. And then I make my hair look amazing. I put the black powder in and I fashion it and look good, and I go out in public and I get a much, much, much better response from women. Hair makes a huge difference to women. Just muscles do too, right? But hair is like, it's more important than I thought it was. And then I thought, okay, all that kind of matters is the front of the hair, because that's what you're seeing when they see the face. But then I said, all my girlfriends, I said, just honestly, what do you think about the back of my hair? Because I was also losing hair in the back. And they all said that it really also makes an impact. Obviously, they don't see it from the front, but they see it from the back. And they think it's much more attractive for me. Like when I put the hair powder in, they think I look super sexy because it looks like I have hair. And when I don't, they're always like, "Oh, you look kind of old with not enough hair up there." So, but for now, I just didn't touch the back because I can just dump powder on it. It takes like 30 seconds, boom. But the front is. Like it got to the point the hair was receding so far that it's kind of awkward to be like bringing my hairline down with powder.
Right.
And then,
right.
So,
Right. So,
that was
on this
my goal.
topic, I mean, I know it certainly as well because I didn't have hair until 25 or very bad hair, worse than you had before the surgery. And then I tried to pick up women and you try different sentences or, lines, whatever, and you see how they come off. And then you realize that oftentimes you get these creepy looks from women based on what you say. And then you say the same thing with hair 2-3 years later, and it just clicks. That's the fun thing, and that's how every guy I think needs to realize it for himself. So yeah. Now one thing. Now talking about the hairline. So what I see on the left side, I see a variety in the micro irregularity. You see those triangles almost looking like micro triangles in the hairline on the left side, and then on the right side, I'm not
Yes.
seeing them. It almost looks like entirely straight line on the other side, right? Look at this.
Yeah. So this was something very interesting. When they drew the line about where they're going to put the hair, they drew exactly where they're going to put the hairs. And so I saw these little triangles that they were making. And I think the point of it is to make it look more natural, like instead of it just being like whoosh, straight, it's like, okay, naturally it would be. So yeah, I went with that. Now I did make a mistake. When they drew the line, I noticed that the hairline was crooked like this. The left side was lower than the right side. And the left side, I had more hair loss. So I think visually they thought, they just thought, okay, we got to bring this side down more. Now I had already taken the Valium and the painkiller while they were drawing the line, and the Valium started working. So I was a little bit like, I was like, oh, cool, the line's a little bit off. Maybe that'll be a cool style. Whereas if I was sober, I probably would have been like, let's correct the line a little bit. So my fault for not correcting the line, but I know that's like a big topic of conversation, like it's not straight. But now I see like it is up to the customer to like say, okay, yes, that's the line, that's not the line. And so, man, that's something important. Like the customer needs to say, if it doesn't look straight with the line, then change it. But at the same time, I thought, you know what? I'm probably going to do a touch-up hair transplant in the future anyways, so I don't really care if it's super even. That was kind of my thinking.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to even this out. I mean, even if you see that it doesn't match, like we see right now, maybe it's going to look like a little bit softer on the left side once it grows, and on the right side, it may look a little bit more aggressive. It's going to be filled in, but it may look like two, maybe straight almost. And in that case, you may just go there and probably have him fill out another 100 grafts, randomly on that right side, which should be free of charge. In that, shouldn't be a big deal, I guess. Sometimes it's even good by guys who have very, very fine hair to do 2 sessions on the hairline to make it denser and fuller. And even the best doctors do not, advise going beyond 50 grafts per square centimeter. So sometimes fine hair needs 60, 65, and this is better to be done in 2 sessions. Also to get better survival, and that's the reason why it's going to be fine, I think, and you may even get better density overall if you go there second time.
How long do you think it's good to wait until you get another hair transplant?
Some clinics start as early as 6 months. On the hairline, you could do it. On the crown, you cannot do it. It's too early. But I would do personally 9 months. I would consider doing a touch-up on the hairline. One thing about the Valium, so they gave it to you before the consultation, and then you had a when?
No. So the first consultation before the surgery day was like, okay, we drew a line and figured out how many hairs it needed and these type of things. But then on the surgery day, okay, it's like, okay, now actually draw the line that they're going to follow. So they draw the line again, and that's when it was like a little lower on on one side, and I had taken the Valium, 30 minutes before the line was drawn. And it's totally my fault. And again, I don't even think it's that big of a deal, but I realized how significant it is when I see so many people complain about uneven hair. And then I realized, as the patient, you have an opportunity to like decide where the line is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a consultation. You came to the clinic on the operation day in the morning, like what, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., and then you had a consultation with Dr. Larwong, with the hair transplant doctor himself, or was it done by, who did the consultation?
The first time was with the actual doctor, and then the second time was with like the doctor draws the line, and then the nurses do all the other stuff, and then the doctor does the actual drilling. And then there's a doctor and a nurse. They're both like drilling at the same time, on like doctors on one side, nurses on the other side.
And they take the grafts out, huh?
Yeah, they're taking the graft. I'm face down and I can't see what's going on, and I'm so curious. There's so many questions I have about that part. Like, for example, when they injected the back of my head, it felt like my skin swelled up. Did they inject something that makes the skin like swell?
Exactly. Yeah. They need to expand the skin so the grafts will be easier to extract, and they do the same on the recipient area as well.
Oh, wow. And I did fall asleep during maybe half, and it was a 5.5 hour, I think, procedure. So maybe like I was falling asleep for 20 minutes, awake for 20 minutes, falling asleep for 20 minutes, awake for 20 minutes.
So do you actually know how much of the doctor involvement you got? Like, Dr. Lar Wong, how much of the surgery has been done by him, you think?
It 50%, because it was him and the nurse at the same time. So he was on one side and the nurse was on the other side.
Cool.
Like I can see them both on each side of
So
me.
he did actually the extraction and also the incisions to create the openings, the channels, right?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't see their face, but like I can see their feet, and so I think so.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
So these hairs, these hairs that they put in there, I know they're very fragile. I have to be careful not to bump them or anything, right? Like they could fall right out, right?
Yeah, bumping is very dangerous, but I have never heard about anybody, losing grafts in the first 10 days because of some big injury. Most guys are very cautious. I heard only one story from one clinic. So they had a guy who needed to fly the next day from Turkey, and he bumped his head in the plane already. So he immediately left the plane and went straight back to the clinic with some grafts on his hands. And that's really a true story, because that's what I got from the director of the clinic. And and then they put them back. Some of them already died out, so they needed to extract new ones and put some of them back. It's a crazy thing. That's the only thing that I have heard. But most guys are very, very cautious. 96 hours is roughly the time when the grafts should be already safe in the recipient zone, and then it's already pretty good.
Okay, and then these new hairs, like you said, they're going to fall out at some point and then grow new hair in their place, right? So I shouldn't worry about some hair falling out in the next month or so, right?
Yeah, so 80-90% of patients start losing the transplanted hair in the after the day 10, 2 weeks, it starts falling out, and some people start losing it slowly in a linear fashion. Some people start losing a lot at the beginning and lose almost 80-90% in the first week or two, since the point it starts. So it's likely that it will be you as well. So, be ready to lose about 80% of those. And it may look a bit weird because some on the hairline will remain and the rest will fall out. So it may look a little bit ugly. That's why it's called the ugly duckling phase for the first 2-3 months. And then it starts growing back on the month number 4.
Okay.
That's something that...
So the DHT and like taking finasteride or using ketoconazole shampoo is not as important for these new hairs, right? Because that's for the DHT vulnerable hairs that I lost, but these hairs are not going to be vulnerable to DHT. Is that right?
Yeah, so most doctors would definitely 100% recommend to take finasteride in the post-transplant phase. So the 12 months after this transplant, it's highly, highly advisable to take finasteride. Now, I don't know about your, testosterone replacement therapy protocol, anabolic steroids. So if you take those things, the more you take, the more important it is to take finasteride after the hair transplant, even for your transplanted hair. Because the more androgens you take, the higher your T levels, more DHT, it may affect the early development of the transplanted hair. Once it grows in fully, you have great density, then you could, take less, or maybe you can switch from oral finasteride to topical finasteride. That's usually the consensus, what the doctors would also agree on. But taking nothing will definitely not help you maximize this result, assuming you are taking the TRT, anabolics, and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I do take steroids, so yeah, I'll up the dose. I take finasteride a little bit here and there, but I'll take it more seriously now. And then minoxidil. When should I start minoxidil again?
So we can start taking it 2 weeks after. That's usually the time when the scabs will fall out. Now we can see those little caps around your grafts, and this is like the skin tissue, and some of it will start falling out, some of it will form into scab, and then it should be clean 10 days, 11 days, from the surgery day, and then you can start using minoxidil, on the rest of your hair. Some of that hair may also reach the recipient area. Some of that minoxidil may reach the recipient area, and that shouldn't be an issue. Maybe be aware of, guys who have never used minoxidil. Sometimes they may get some skin irritation because of propylene glycol. And so that's good that you tried minoxidil in the past and you know what it kind of does to your skin, and you are not super sensitive. In such case, take the propylene glycol free solution just to be safe, because this area is already irritated, it's already red, and it will remain red sometimes even 3-4 months in. And that's the reason why you don't want to, what's the good word for it? You don't want to push it too much, You should also protect it from the sunshine, like direct sunshine. If it's like warm outside, 25 degrees Celsius and more, you got to protect your scalp with a head, if you're out for more than like 15-20 minutes. Yeah.
Sweetie, bring me my neck fan. So I got this neck fan to keep me cold because it's hot in Thailand. And so how much is sweating from walking around a risk?
Yeah, that's nothing.
It's a hot environment.
That's no risk. That's no risk. But that's when I would actually tell the doctor, like, hey, give me the saline solution, because it's important, because then I can also be spraying my head, not just to clean the recipient zone, but also ease the itching sensation, which usually comes also because you sweat a lot. So you would be actually killing two birds with one stone. So it's actually useful to use the saline in this case when it's super hot and humid and you want to be cooling your scalp at the same time. That would be cool.
Okay, sweetie, we're going to go to the pharmacy and get saline solution and spray, so I can spray my
Yeah,
scalp.
if you just buy it yourself and you start spraying it regularly, there is no damage you will do with it, because that's the very, very general advice from any doctor for the patient. So yeah, that's something that I have done too with my last surgeries.
Have you seen this before, just for cooling yourself off? These?
Yeah, I've seen them, but I have never tried. I have never tried them.
I mean, it's not about hair stuff, It's just about
just
keeping
for the
cool.
neck. Yeah.
Cool. But it does two things. It blows air on you, so it cools you off like a fan.
Yeah.
And then it blows air on these metal contact pads, so you get this nice cold feeling, right on your neck, where it kind of controls your core temperature. So cool. I wore this all day today, and the battery lasted all day. I was shocked.
Wow.
This cheap cheap Chinese. I mean, this is a cheap Chinese thing.
I
you know,
actually thought this
strong
is a
down.
laser comb for the hair, but it is for the neck. So back.
Speaking of laser, I'll ask you about laser in a second. What are you going to say, and then we'll talk laser.
Yeah, so speaking about some treatments, so we talked about the minoxidil finasteride. I would highly suggest to use both of them on a daily basis. And then, I think based on this, I would be monitoring the situation and potentially even add some topical anti-androgen in the future if you notice that your existing hair is still falling out despite of using finasteride. Since you are taking the gear, I think it's very, very useful to add some anti-androgen too.
Okay. And then the laser, they have now free 5-day laser treatment after. I want to get back to Pattaya home, so I'm only going to do 3 days of the laser treatment, even though it's included 5. But I went there and I laid under the big red light laser thing, and maybe it was like 30 minutes, maybe it was like 20 minutes on the front, 20 minutes on the back. What's that all about? What is that doing?
So most doctors who do it in their practices for the patient, not many do it, but I've done it with my last surgeon for 30 minutes right after the surgery. And then again, he also said do it in the week after it several times, but I had to fly. If I had the time, I would have gone for more sessions. It does help with the skin healing and regeneration. It's being falsely marketed as the hair regrowth and whatnot, the type of formula with the caps, but it's actually better for the skin, producing more of the growth factors in the skin that are actually good for the healing, regeneration, help with scarring, something that microneedling does as well, but with microneedling you would wound that and you would cut the skin, so it's not that good, but with the laser light you can do it better. I would go for it. Yeah.
So you don't think the hair lasers or red light on the scalp it is like super effective at growing new hair or something like that?
No, I'm hearing like 90% disappointing stories. Obviously anecdotal reports from guys that I consult, from clinics that I visit, and I ask them about the laser stuff. And then they say 90% of the time that it's a scam or it doesn't work. They don't recommend it. And in 10% cases, of course, I hear that there are some benefits. But this is usually because guys already take the good stuff, the minoxidil, the finasteride, and then on top they add the laser, and then in some cases it may give you some visual benefit. But in studies, there is a difference between giving you clinical benefit or visual, benefit. And clinical benefit means as little as 2 more hairs regrow per square centimeter. And in the study, they give it a stamp and be like, wow, it's a positive response and it's working. And then many companies start producing those things. But one study that I like to refer to was a helmet device that had a half of it like real lasers, and the half of it was like just fake Chinese lasers. So it was like a placebo half, and the other one was the real one. And they came onto like, I think 13 or 14 hairs regrown per square centimeter on the real one, and then 11.5 on the fake one. So effectively, we are talking about maybe 2 hairs difference or 3 hairs. But they, of course, market it as, hey, this one regrew 14 hair, but they don't talk about the placebo group that got also like very substantial boost, right? So that's how you should see that industry with the caps, because it's quite misleading, and oftentimes they fund their studies from the company, and then it's biased. And yeah, I'm kind of hesitant towards recommending this.
Okay, and then this hat, how long do you think I should wear this? This is to protect my head from the sun. Is that why I'm wearing this?
Yeah, very likely. I mean,
and is that like a 2-week thing or like a month thing or?
I mean, it looks loose. It looks very loose, which tells me that he's very, very careful, which is a good thing. But normally you can easily wear like a normal baseball hat or a cap, which you just put on your, also make it a little bit loose in the back, but you can just, even like a snapback, you can just make it loose, and then just put it, cautiously on and off, and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna, work as the protection from the sun. It doesn't need to be super loose like what you have here, but it shouldn't be like a winter hat either that is super tight everywhere, It should have some space between your hair and the top of the cap.
Okay, and any supplements that come to mind? I mean, I'll tell you one that maybe you haven't heard of because it's kind of more in the biohacking industry than the hair, but like BPC 157, for example, it's a healing peptide that just every injury or any problem in the body, we take this and it more than doubles the speed of recovery. So I'm taking that, and then I assume like B vitamins.
Yeah,
I should be
B12
taking.
is good. B12 is good for the better vasodilation in the scalp, in the capillaries. I would take this, vitamin D. But since you are in you have summer right now, a lot of sunshine, you probably don't need that as much. So anything that is like anti-inflammatory, boost your immunity, that's a benefit. But it's not going to be probably as strong as like a proven peptide you are talking about that is actually helping you with the healing, or things like, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That's something that is meant to also promote the wound healing pretty quickly.
Okay, got it. Here, I'll just last. If you think of anything else, let me know. But a last thing, maybe I'll just pull up one of the other videos.
Yeah, let's do this.
And just see if there's anything else interesting. Let's see, like randomly, like maybe. Let's see. There's so many different ones. How about like this? Let's just see what this one looks like. Is it this one? Yeah. I don't know. There's one of the doctors. That's not the doctor who did the surgery. He was just checking. So then it's just a video of afterwards. Okay, that's not too exciting. Let's pull up another one. There's so many I didn't go through them. I only opened some of them that looked nice at first glance. Oh, here's the washing. This was the washing today, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so spraying a lot of liquid. For like washing the hair the day after. Yeah, cleaning it.
So did they spray after the procedure was over, or was it the day after?
Day after.
Day after.
Yeah. So I guess that's how they clean it gently afterwards. Maybe spraying sodium. Oh yeah, saline.
Yeah, saline. Yeah.
I see the bottle. Yeah. Okay. And then they put the ointment. Maybe this video will show the ointment. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, a lot of bleeding in the back of my head from where they pulled the hairs out.
Yeah. So how long was the extraction? Do you know? Like you slept, right? So you probably don't remember. How many hours did it take?
Yeah, I think it was about 5. It was a little over 5 hours, I think.
And they took how many grafts?
I thought I knew the number. I thought it was what's the normal amount? What is it normally?
Yeah, this looks like 2,200-ish, maybe 2,400, maybe, something between 2 and 2.4K.
Oh man. Okay, I'll ask tomorrow because I can't remember. I thought it was a bigger number than that, but the cost was 120,000 baht, which is like $4,000, I think.
$4,000. Okay. I know that their price is like $2.7 per graft because I know this clinic. So that would mean that, maybe you got 1,500-600. But yeah, that sounds a bit too little to me.
Okay, tomorrow I'll figure out.
Were you able to choose like from different packages, like as far as doctor involvement? Like sometimes it's more expensive if the doctor does more of the job. Sometimes it's cheaper. No,
no different packages. It's just price per graft, and then it's like how many grafts do you want?
Yeah,
because they draw a picture of where they're going to put it, and then they recommend like how many grafts per amount of square centimeter or whatever.
You have some more pictures.
And
we can track it down better, maybe from other perspective, or maybe if you have the line where they just drew the line on your forehead with some hair.
I definitely have it. It just depends on how long it takes to find it. So let's see. Well, here I got this one's. This one's interesting because of the blood. This is today when they're cleaning the blood off the back. Look at all that.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
So crazy. Wow.
Yeah, they took more in the back, and once they went towards the sides, they took a bit less, which makes sense. Okay, yeah, that looks more like 2400-ish. Yeah. So they went a little bit into the existing hair. Not too far.
Yeah.
Not too far. Okay. Yeah, it looks like 26.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you got a good deal. Like for $4,000, this is a really good deal, actually.
My friends went to this clinic. Yeah, you might want to connect with a clinic too to see if you can work something out with them as well. And then, maybe good.
So
for you to connect with them.
I plan to visit Thailand next year probably, and I was thinking about visiting some clinics there. But you said that the doctor does not speak English. So when you came there for the consultation, like you had some questions. So who was the person who did all the translation?
The doctor speaks English. It's just like 70% English.
Ah, okay.
So it's like you ask a question and you can kind of get like a little bit of a different answer because you didn't like totally understand the question. And it's kind of the thing, I'm a lawyer, so I can relate to this. Let's say I handle tons and tons of cases and I know what I'm doing, and then the client's asking me all these questions that don't matter. It's just like, let me just handle it,
Yep.
Let me just handle I know what your problem is. You don't want to pay me to sit here for 10 hours explaining it to you. I will solve all your legal problems. You're paying me the money to solve it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that involved, a little bit of that style. Because they just, they do so many every day they're doing another hair transplant, and they're like, just let us handle it,
But this was like 1-day session, right?
Well, there was a consult a month ago or something, and then I, had to wait in line until maybe there was a cancellation.
Yep.
So that's what happened is they're setting the appointments out like 2.5 months, 3 months. But if there's a cancellation, which happens, frequently enough, then you get on a wait list and then you can get in earlier.
So overall, you are happy with the service, with everything, how it went, with the whole experience?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy with everything. Yeah, it's good. I think it was a good decision, and my harem depends on it.
Yeah.
My harem depends on the hair.
So why did you eventually decide to do it right now? So did you, since our last call, you start taking the finasteride, the minoxidil, also the microneedling, and then how were the results, and why now?
Nothing grew new hair for me in these spots that I wanted. So I think maybe those treatments and things maybe help me retain hair in general everywhere. But I tried everything on this front part, and the hair has just been gone here for so long. I think that's why prevention is by far the most important thing. But so I don't think there's anything that would make new hair. I even had stem cells injected here and everything. It's just like I had hair loss, I think, starting at a young age. And I have a theory that maybe you've looked into this, and if not, this is a really great thing to look into, is homocysteine. So I've got the MTF, homocysteine.
Ah, okay.
So I have the MTFHR gene, whatever, where my homocysteine level is going to go very high. In order to bring my homocysteine level down, I need to methylate. I need to take supplements like trimethylglycine or vitamin B12 that's methylated, and methylfolate, these type of things. Because when your homocysteine levels are high, it damages your arteries and capillaries and starts restricting blood flow. And so I think this may be another source of hair loss that nobody's talking about. And it's a genetic thing. So some people have high homocysteine levels, some people don't. You can do blood tests for it, but this may be something you can include in your protocols for preventing hair loss, is test your homocysteine levels. If it's high, then take the supplements to bring your homocysteine levels down so that your capillaries don't get damaged, so that you can have more blood flow to your scalp. And since then I have that genetic predisposition and the genetics for hair loss, it's possible that one of the genetic factors for hair loss besides DHT is also homocysteine, but nobody ever talks about that. And it's just only the last couple days it just kind of dawned on me that maybe that's why I had hair loss at such a young age, besides being a lawyer in a stressful environment and later steroids. Because it's steroids, I didn't lose that much hair, which means I might not be super sensitive to DHT. I might be super sensitive to homocysteine. Yeah.
Yeah, the only question then to ask is like, what's first? Is it the DHT that regulates the expression of the homocysteine, or is it the homocysteine that contributes independently from DHT to the equation? You know, so what's first? So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, but I will look into that for sure. So one thing that I would advise you to ask the doctor next during the next visit too is that, you know, some doctors give you also a special shampoo. So normally it's on the day 3, 4 when you are advised to, you know, gently pat the shampoo on your recipient area and wash it, you know, in the shower, but don't let the full shower like drop on the skin. But you should just gently, you know, gentle flow, and then just try to put it on the crown and let it flow through the front. Don't get the shower right into the recipient zone. So that's for the first 10 days. And then there is the special shampoo. I had the one with, what's the name of this? Chlorhexidine. So chlorhexidine is a special antibacterial stuff that you can also use as a, you know, mouthwash to you know, clean your mouth, and if you have like any ulcers in your mouth and whatnot. And this can be done also on the recipient area, and it will help you. Once the hair starts falling out, there will be some pores in the skin because the hair left, and so there will be the pore, they will be open, and it will remain open for maybe a couple days, 2, 3, 4 days, then it's going to close. But if you are susceptible to sebum build up on the scalp, if your scalp tends to get oily, I see those people getting a lot of pimples during the post-operative phase, like month number 1, 2. You shouldn't mess with those pimples, you just should leave it there. Shouldn't pop them for sure, but if you use a special type of antibacterial shampoo or lotion, like with tea tree oil or with that chlorhexidine, then you can actually get rid or manage the occurrence of those pimples. And then the same thing can happen one more time during the month 3 and 4 when the new hair starts, you know, coming through. Then the pores will open up again, and then the new hair will start coming through, and that's the time when some pimples may develop as well. I'm just mentioning it for you since you are on testosterone, you're taking some stuff, and in that case, you know, you may get more DHT expression in the scalp too, and that can contribute to the sebum build up that way too.
Okay, yeah. So the chlorhexidine and tea tree oil and sodium chloride, you know, has some mild antibiotic properties, I guess. Very
exactly.
How about iodine? Iodine is what, like in Thailand, they use iodine for everything as a.
In which form, like a topical
antibiotic.
solution?
Just a liquid iodine. They just pour it on everything to disinfect things in Thailand.
Yeah,
So
I don't think
it's like in
iodine is
7-Eleven.
antibacterial in a way like the tea tree oil. It's good for cleansing the scalp to get rid of the, you know, it's drying out the skin well also, and that's the good thing of the, you know, saline, because then the scabs will form quicker and then will fall out quicker, and that's a good thing. You don't want to be left with scabs for more than like 10 days, because then the scabs may be too tight, and then they may actually not come come off that quickly and easily. And sometimes you may get some damage on the grafts too, because sometimes the grafts may be occasionally even pulled together with the long scab, with the long lasting scab, and that's not so good. So that's why it's good to use that saline. So it's like very clean. I mean, it depends on the doctor too. I mean, some doctors, they don't even allow the scabs to form because they work so good. They create mini incisions. They work so well that the patients don't even get the scarring or the scabbing. So in these cases, you don't even need to obsess about it so much. But in your case, I see a little bit of scabbing, but it's still very, very good, to be honest. I mean, very normal, and it's not excessive.
Okay. Yeah, one thing I noticed from this is that I think the skill of the doctor does make a difference because there's just so many elements. Like when I was undergoing the treatment, I was thinking, wow, like there are so many little variables that, like what angle they do, what depth they do, and I'm not even seeing it, but I'm feeling it and I'm getting that feeling. So I'm glad that I paid, because there's actually a lot cheaper places in Thailand than this.
Yep.
But I went to like one on the more expensive side just because like all of my friends went there and they said, just trust me, just go there. So I just went there. If I didn't have my friends that I see every day went there, then I absolutely would have said, Matt, tell me where to go and I will go to where you told me. You know what I mean? So I think that's what most people should do, because you track all these different doctors. They should definitely check with you on who to go to, whoever's in their area.
Yeah, sometimes, guys are like you, and that's a good case where they choose, or the first friend chooses the good clinic, and then all the friends go there and they're happy. But sometimes the first friend chooses bad clinic and still recommends it because he doesn't know any better places, or he has low standards, and then all the friends go there. And sometimes the third one, fourth one, he's like, man, that he screwed up. Like, my hair is not that good as yours. My donor area is not as good as yours. So I feel how bad his work is. But maybe your situation didn't suffer so much because you had good donor and whatnot, not so much hair loss. But once, there will be, a guy with a lot of baldness, that's where the challenge comes for the doctor to restore a high Norwood. And that's where many mess up in clinics. Yeah.
Oh, the other interesting thing is like that you can take hair from anywhere in the body. Have you heard of like them taking hair from other places? Like this clinic said that they've done it from the beard and put it on the head before. Have you heard about that and how that works?
Yeah. I've seen cases who do it from the beard, chest, legs, even armpit hair. I have seen. But the best one by far is the beard hair, because the hair growth cycle is similar to the scalp hair. It has like a 1 year anagen phase. The scalp hair has 2 to 7 year anagen phase, and the body hair has a very short anagen phase. That's the phase when the hair is like visibly, growing out. And the chest and the legs, it's like 3 to 6 months. So you don't want to be putting those hairs somewhere where you want to keep the hair long. So ideally you can put them on the sides, on the temples, theoretically, but the doctor really needs to know what he's doing, but not to add density. The body hair, except for beard hair, is not good for adding density because it's just single soft hairs, not going to produce a lot of thickness and density. And that's why the doctors that do it, they use the beard hair for maybe crown to add more fullness, because it's kind of thick and robust. Even if it doesn't have doubles and triples, it does look full and thick. So they use this hair, and it's okay to use it. I would probably don't mind this. But some guys also complain when that hair is short. You can kind of feel it. It's more rough. Also, I've seen cases where that hair is like very curly. It starts curling a lot, and then guy ends up with a lot of spots where they put it, and there are some wiry areas, especially, it sometimes can be tricky. I wouldn't recommend it with every case,
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, the best doctors I know, they don't use body hair, just for the guys out there. So it's like the last resort. I wouldn't rely on it. I wouldn't rely on it. Worst case, you could do it, but it's not going to be the best it could look.
And last question, Matt. You last time we were talking, you were working on with a company that was developing a new topical, I think an anti-androgen or something that will be effective for hair growth. So, is there progress on that, or should I just check back with you in a few months?
No, I mean, I made a video on them. I did like a review, follow-up review on them since the product has been out since March this year, and I've looked at some results. I've seen some responses, and I'm disappointed. Unfortunately, it's a mRNA-based formula that is like silencing your androgen receptor to make it interact less with the DHT and then reverse the miniaturization. The results are not that good. Guys are not that happy. It's kind of costly. It's like €300 for 2 or 3 months supply. So at least €100 per month that you spend on it. And they're not seeing the return, to be honest. It's definitely not very significant. It's weaker than finasteride, absolutely. And their promise was that it will be the competitor to finasteride without the side effects, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be the case. So that's the Cosme RNA, from Korea, and I was in touch with the company, and we wanted to do like a video call and put it on YouTube for the people to clarify some questions, but they stopped responding to me as well, and I just lost more trust compared to what I had a year ago, since I was still in touch with them. Right now I'm very hesitant. I wouldn't try it right now because I'm happy with my treatments, but if I were new, having no treatment working for me, and I wouldn't want to take finasteride, then I would probably do just topical anti-androgen like RU58841, maybe start with a lower 2.5%. If I have no side effects, go to 5%. And I used RU, but you got to be careful too. I mean, I got side effects from one pre-made or pre-mixed solution. It was pretty bad side effect, but I was mixing it together with the powder myself, and when I was doing that, I had no issues. So it depends where you source it, where you take it from, and it does work. It at least kept my hair for the time that I wasn't on finasteride. That's an alternative. But the Cosme RNA, I'm not a fan of. And unfortunately, we have a bad news. Actually, last week, the other company from China, Kintor, they had a very good topical anti-androgen in the pipelines. Very good studies done on it already compared to efficacy very similar to finasteride in 6 months. But right now, the recent trial, the recent evidence where they already chose the right dose that has been shown the best in the first trial, they put like 270 men on it in China, and in 6 months, it did improve the hair quality and the density, but in the placebo group, they also got almost the same benefits. And that's the same example I showed you with the helmet. And that's what's happening in this branch often, right? And they oftentimes don't, they neglect the placebo group, and they say like, hey, look, it's 10 more hairs per square centimeter, but in reality, it's not statistically significant if the placebo group has almost the same benefit. That's what happened, and they announced it last week, and many people are very disappointed because that was like the most promising thing, the closest one to the FDA approval. And right now, the only thing we have that is kind of close is their product that is like androgen receptor, annihilator, GT229, and it's from Kintor too. It's just not as far in the trials, but I guess this one, hopefully could be the thing that could maybe compete with finasteride or maybe replace it by people who cannot tolerate it at all. Right now we are kind of again in that phase where nothing is going to probably happen or be approved close to finasteride's efficacy in the next 2 years, and we still need to wait. So that's where we are. We are back. We did a step back now. Yeah.
So when I was in the U.S., I visited a laboratory, and we talked about making a new topical anti-hair loss formula that just has the it's like a mix of the finasteride and RU and this and that and the other, minoxidil, and all mixed into one, but by an actual pharmaceutical manufacturer. So this is something that maybe it's about a month away from being completed, and I need to get you a bottle of it so you can see if that's something you want to promote and something you endorse, and then we can work something out on that. Because I'm trying to, like, I'm not the scientist behind it. I'm just trying to like urge and finance and try to push this forward so that there's like one dominant topical product on the market that say, yeah, you could be involved as much as you want to be on it, because it's just the more people that are working on this or promoting it, the better. So I'll follow up with you after about that.
Yeah, definitely,
And
man.
then,
Yeah, we'll be interested in looking into this.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot to talk. I mean, now that I've done this and, you know, I'm thinking more about my hair, and I realize the significance of hair to my romantic life. My harem, most important thing to me, depends on it. So
Yeah.
because I've got this new 22-year-old girlfriend who is a virgin, right? But she's very hypergamistic. Like she's never been with a man before, but she's got, like, when we're walking around, her eyes are looking around. She's like, am I with the most high value man? Am I with the most high value man? Okay. Tony's got money. He's got muscles. He's got influence. He's smart, but he's got hair loss, and I can see it in her eyes, you know? So it's like, I'm thinking like, man, I really want to keep this girl.
Yeah.
But like the hair has become a big factor, and it's a big factor in me actually caring so much about my hair, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't really care. I'm not vain at all, you know, but I do care about keeping this woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a great decision in this regard. I mean, good choice. I'm looking forward how this grows in 6 months, 7 months, and then let's see if you need even the touch up. Maybe you'll be happy how it looks, and see how it goes.
All right. Awesome, Matt. Thank you. And your hair is looking fabulous as always.
Thanks, bro. Thank you.
I'm looking to get on your level. All right, Matt, we'll touch base on the topical formula, and I'll probably have more questions for you throughout the way. And everybody who's listening, Matt is the guy to ask on where to go and what to do when it comes everything hair growth. Check out the YouTube channel. All right, Matt, thanks.
Thanks, buddy. See you next time. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.